Thank you so much for coming today. My name is Alex Becker. I'm the Program Specialist of Work-Based Learning at the County Office of Education. And today we're going to talk a little bit about essential skills. But before we get started, just a few things. I know what you guys are all wondering. And yes, we will be using the polling feature today. So I'm expecting some audience involvement. So get ready to take some polls. It's going to be like you're on the show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? If you have any questions during the presentation, just drop them in the Q&A. And my fearless colleague, Alicia, who is our room host today, she will read those questions. And I'm going to stop throughout the presentation to take time for questions. We're also going to have a Q&A period at the end. So if there's something I missed or we didn't get to, happy to address that later. I know some of you do require a verification. I will be sharing the verification slide at the end so that you guys can take a screenshot or a photo of that and share it with your teacher. We will also be putting an evaluation in the chat. Either myself or Alicia will drop that in the chat for you at the end. We'd love to hear your feedback. This is our first virtual conference ever, and so we want to know what we could improve for students in the future. So definitely let us know. And then, as I mentioned before, we are recording, so make sure to be on your best behavior. I'm just kidding. But yeah, we are recording, so just a heads up there. All right, let's get started. All right. Let's get to some PowerPoint. All right, so today we are talking about essential skills, and more specifically, we are talking about dependability and workplace etiquette. But before I jump in, just a little bit of background. Not many people know what county offices are, so I just wanted to give you a brief overview of what they are. So you guys all go to school, and San Diego County has about 780 schools serving over 500,000 students. Each of those schools is part of a district. San Diego has 42 school districts. The County Office of Education is the county government agency that oversees those districts. We provide supports like financial supports, outdoor education, special education. And then the team that I'm on is called College and Career Readiness. And so our role is to help prepare you guys. We help districts prepare students for life after high school. So when you guys are looking at, what careers you want, what schools you want to go to, we are the ones who are helping you explore different careers, think about the education, training, or work experience that you need to get into those careers. And we help modify curriculum so that you guys are learning relevant skills that employers want. All right, so enough about that. Let's get to the good stuff. So dependability and workplace etiquette. Here's our agenda for today. First, we're going to talk about what essential skills are. Then we're going to go into today's skills, why they're important. We're going to talk about ways that you can improve those skills. And then lastly, we're going to end with some cutting edge skills that I've seen HR departments and different companies start to look for in hiring processes. So just things to be aware of. It's pretty interesting. All right, so when we talk about student career readiness, when we want you guys to be career ready, that means we want you to be proficient in 3 different skill sets. So technical skills, that's one of them, which you can think of as what you do. So technical skills are things like using certain types of software, certain types of equipment. It could be math skills, writing, fluency in a foreign language. That's all technical skills that people want to hire you for, right? The second category is what we're talking about today, essential skills. This is how you do it. So how you interact in a professional environment. And then the third piece is application skills. So how do you market yourself to employers so they say, this is the person we want to hire. They've got what it takes. So it's about marketing yourself. So writing a great resume, standing out in an interview, things like that. So that's just the general context. But today, of course, we're focusing on that second bucket, essential skills. You may have heard essential skills talked about as soft skills, 21st century skills, professional skills, thinking dispositions, metacognitive skills. These are all terms for the same thing. It's just a set of skills that include social skills, personalities, attitudes, and behaviors. And we use these skills to navigate an environment. It could be a school setting, a work environment, learning new skills. That's important. Um, Organizing and completing your work, like study skills. How do you make sure that you're getting your work done in time? How do you get yourself focused to do your homework? Things like that. And then getting along with others like coworkers or maybe teachers and classmates. Um, so what are some examples of essential skills? If you see here on the right, we have this poster that highlights a few examples. So emotional intelligence, communication, creativity, collaboration, working with others, dependability, etc. You guys get the idea. Um, but I want to note that we didn't come up with these. These were created by our local workforce development board, which is a county agency that oversees employment programs. So they work under the Department of Labor, trying to help San Diegans get jobs, both young and old, everyone, help them get jobs if they're unemployed. Um, and as part of their work, they conduct labor market research. So they're out there hitting the pavement, they're talking to employers, they're sending out Google forms, doing surveys, and they want to hear from employers, hey, what is it that you guys need? How should we be preparing people to fill your jobs? And so we use that labor market data in education to help make sure that you guys are learning the skills that are necessary to get a good career, one that's high wage, high growth. We want to prepare you. So this information is key to us. So when SDWP conducted this research, they identified that employers were looking for 26 essential skills or soft skills, and then they categorized those into 6 groups, which is what you see on the poster. And the 6th grouping is just to make it easier to digest, because we couldn't have a poster with 26 skills listed and explanations. It would look nuts. So we broke them up into categories. And why do employers value these skills? So in that labor market data, those surveys that SCWP was sending out, they kept hearing back from employers, hey, you know what we're really struggling to find in entry-level employees? So that's positions that would be filled by recent high school grads and recent college grads. The number one thing we struggle to find are applicants with strong essential skills. So that's why you guys need these skills, is because employers are looking for them and can't find them. So if you have them, you're going to be awesome when you apply to jobs. They're going to be like, wow, this person's great. We really need someone like this. But why do employers care about these skills? Why are they so in demand? Well, they're really important for initial job success, which again goes back to that entry level position. So a lot of these entry level positions, it doesn't matter what sector they're in. It could be a construction position at a construction company. It could be some entry level position at a biotech research firm or something. Nobody in any sector is expecting to hire a high school graduate with 5 to 10 years of work experience. That doesn't make any sense. That would mean you'd have to be working since you were like 8, 7, right? That it's just not feasible. So no one expects you to have this work experience. What they do want you to have, though, are people who are going to show up on time, who are not going to be on the phone when a customer is in a room, who are going to be dressed appropriately, who know how to interact with the existing employees and can get along with other people and don't create those personnel problems. And one of the most important pieces is the ability to learn new skills. We're going to talk a lot about that because each of these companies in all sectors, they have very specific needs. They use specific software, specific equipment. They have specific work processes. And they are going to teach all of that to you on the job. So those are all the technical skills. They're going to train you in that. But they need you to be able to learn, and they need you to be able to do the other things we talked about, like showing up on time. So that's why essential skills are important. The second piece is that they're transferable across sectors. What do I mean by that? That means these skills are used in every occupation, every sector. So let's say you're really into filmmaking. So you've been interested in film since 6th grade. You spent your whole middle school, high school career making film with your friends. But then after you graduate, you get an internship at a studio, and you're like, you know what? This isn't what I thought it was. Maybe I don't want to, maybe I just like doing this as a hobby, but for work, I actually really want to go into healthcare. So what happens to all those skills like camera operation, uh, editing, screenplay writing, acting, etc.? Those aren't really that useful in a hospital setting, right? But what is useful is all of the other soft or essential skills that you developed in the filmmaking process. So all those problem solving skills, you learn teamwork, how to work with, film requires a lot of people. Communication, film is all about conveying emotion or a message. Those are all skills that are very useful in any field. All right. So that wraps up our first section. And so I'm going to check our Q&A real quick. Okay, we don't have anything yet. So with that being said, we're actually going to move on to our first poll. So I'm going to post this poll. And this is just to test what you guys are picking up here, picking up what I'm laying down. So here's our first poll. It's nice and easy to start. So I'm just testing you guys. Which of these skills listed is not an essential skill? So let's see, we got 1 for coding, 2 for coding. Interesting, early lead there. 3, oh my goodness. So we're at 33% of the vote. Wow, you guys are really confident about this one. I don't know. Okay, let's give it a few more seconds. All right, ending that poll. Well, you guys are correct. It is not an essential skill. So you guys have been paying attention. Very good. I told you we start off with an easy one. All right, let's move to a second one here. I'm going to launch this one. So this question is, essential skills are important to career readiness because humans generally agree that they are important. They were put together by the California Department of Education. Employers are looking for these skills when hiring, or teachers have deemed them necessary for graduation. So why are these skills so important? Again, an early lead here. Very confident group today. You guys are smart. All right, give this 2 more seconds. All right. Yep, you guys are correct again. While it's awesome that education supports these skills, and they do, the reason these are important to you guys is because it's about employment. You guys need these skills to get jobs. So that was just the easy polling. That was just the practice rounds. We'll get into some harder ones later. Good job. All right, next stage. Let's talk about today's skills and why they're important. Okay, so dependability and workplace etiquette. Let's start off with some definitions here just to make sure we're all on the same page, because some of these concepts can be a little nuanced. So when I talk about dependability, I'm saying being trustworthy and reliable. Workplace etiquette means a code of polite behavior among members of a profession. So these are 2 interesting definitions that don't necessarily seem to relate to one another, at least on the surface. So why do employers care so much about these skills? Interestingly, they both have to do with the quality of work. So obviously employers want people that do quality work, right? They want strong employees who are performing. And so here's how both of these skills relate. So dependability has to do with the internal piece, how you manage yourself, and that affects your quality of work. So that's those study skills we talked about. How do you make sure that you're doing things on time? How do you motivate yourself to stay focused and get a task done, right? That's really important to delivering quality work. The second piece, that etiquette piece, is how you present yourself and how other people perceive you, which is just as important. Because you could be an awesome worker, you could deliver all this great product, but you know what? If everybody is super annoyed by you, if they're like, wow, that guy's super rude, or you know what, she is, I just can't be in a room with her, I can't stand her. Or maybe like, I can't understand what this person is saying and they always show up late. It doesn't matter how good your work product is. People are just going to get frustrated and they might fire you over a long period of time. So they're equally important. You got to deliver quality work, but you got to make sure that people have a positive image of you and acknowledge that you do quality work and enjoy working with you. So let's delve more deeply into that. So here are some building blocks around that internal piece, which is about working independently. So one of these building blocks is listening comprehension. Listening is really important because that's how you get information about your assignments. You need to be able to listen to a set of instructions and take that that instruction and create the work product. So listening is huge. What happens if you don't understand what someone is saying? That's where number two comes in, asking questions to clarify things. So that's a two-parter because one, you have to know that you're actually missing key information. And then second, you have to take the initiative to go ask a question. Time management, you guys are pros at this. You've been handing in homework, doing tests your whole lives. So again, just always meet your assignment deadlines. That one's easy. You guys are pros. Prioritizing tasks, another one, easy for you guys. You guys are juggling different assignments from different classes. You've got French homework, you've got history homework, you've got science homework. How am I going to be able to make sure I'm doing all my homework? Work is the same way. You have multiple assignments, all with competing deadlines. So you've got to know what to work on and when so that you get everything in on time. All right, enough of the internal piece. Let's move over to the external piece. How to build a good reputation. So this is about the perception, that workplace etiquette. So first and foremost, positive attitude and good manners, that's huge. Again, people just enjoy working with people they enjoy being around. It's the same with you. Like you hang out with your friends because you enjoy being around them. The workplace is the same. Promptness, this is an easy one to knock out of the park. Always be on time. It's an easy way for you to show up and say, hey, I'm a reliable employee. On the flip side, if you don't show up on time, it goes back to the good manners thing. People are just going to be annoyed and they're going to say like, oh, man, I hate working with this person. They're just so annoying. Appropriate clothes and appearance. Again, another easy one. Just make sure you're wearing dress that's appropriate for the workplace. We'll talk more about that. And then make sure you're well groomed, that you don't you have good hygiene, you don't smell bad. For some work environments, this might mean that you're bringing the proper equipment. So let's say you show up to a construction site that requires steel-toed boots and you don't have steel-toed boots. Guess what? They're sending you home and your boss is going to be pretty ticked off. That's a waste of time. Phone management. People like to complain about high schoolers with phone management, but this is for everyone. And I can quite honestly say that high schoolers, yeah, they're bad at it, but honestly, everyone's bad at it. Some of the worst perpetrators of phone etiquette is like baby boomers. So phone management, very important. My rules are just turn the ringer on silent. And if you have to take a call, just take it outside. It's okay. Don't worry. Like people do it all the time. It's fine. Don't do it too much though. Like don't be on the phone all day. The reason you take it outside is you don't want to distract anyone. And maybe you're talking about something personal. Nobody needs to hear that. Lastly, this one's very important. Always speak well of others. You might not like your supervisor and you're hanging out with your coworker and you're talking smack about your supervisor, but you don't know that your coworker is actually friends with your supervisor outside of work. It's all going to circle back and your supervisor is not going to be happy when they hear that you've been talking smack about them. So just play it safe. Keep that positive attitude. Always speak well of others. All right. That ends our second session. Let's check in on the Q&A. Oh, thank you, Paula. What specifically should you put in your resume? Ooh, that's a good question. So we actually have a whole section on resume writing. But generally what I tell students is to focus on your accomplishments. So if you think about things like, let's say you don't have work experience, but you have some other type of experience, maybe you constantly babysit for your siblings or you help your parent out at their job. Or maybe you have a class project that you're particularly proud of. That's all really useful information for employers. It's also very important skills. So make sure you think about like, what skills am I learning on a daily basis in my personal life? That's something I usually notice about high school students is like, oh, I just don't have anything. Show off your project. If you have a project, bring a photo of it, share it electronically. Those are things that demonstrate skills. It demonstrates, ability with word processing. It demonstrates that you know how to get something done. So that's my short answer. So focus on outcomes and skills, even if it's not necessarily tied to a job. Okay. Let's see. All right, let's move to our next poll. Um, Actually, you know what? We're going to save those. We'll get to polls later. Let's get into this next section. All right, so a little water. All right, let's talk about how you can improve your work quality and reputation. So appropriate dress. Most of you guys, if you're getting internships or jobs, you're going to be in an office. It's pretty standard. So there's a few office etiquette rules around dress, and you're going to hear these terms all the time. Business dress. So if your office requires you to wear business dress, this is what they're talking about. Everyone in this photo is wearing a suit. The men have ties, button-down shirts. The women are wearing either a skirt suit or a pantsuit, and everyone is wearing dress shoes. That's important too. And they all look very clean cut. Business casual. This is the most common, especially in California. Even though it has the word casual in it, you can see everybody's wearing a blouse or a button-down shirt. They all have dress slacks on. They all are probably wearing dress shoes, so you can't see it in the picture. They're wearing belts, a dress skirt, not too short, not too tight. That's always a good rule to follow. And so you can see, like, they're still looking professional. They just lost the blazers, right? Lastly, casual. So this could be like a casual Friday, or you might even have a casual office. But you can see from the photo, casual at work is very different from casual outside of work. So yes, all of these people are wearing jeans, it looks like, but they're wearing button-down shirts, they're wearing nice tops. One woman's wearing a blazer, she's looking very professional. They're all not wearing dress shoes maybe, but they're wearing nice shoes, not like scuffed up running shoes or anything. There's one guy in the back there wearing a t-shirt, but he even has like a nice sweater over it. So you can see, again, very different from outside of work. Nobody's wearing their sweatpants, athleisure, none of that. Okay. So that brings us to an activity. And I've opened up the chat for you guys, I think. Yeah. So, don't leave me hanging here. Feel free to participate. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys I'm going to show you guys a series of photos and of different work environments. And I want you guys to just one word answers what you think appropriate attire would be for that work environment. So for the first one, we have a photo of what looks like a healthcare facility, might be a hospital, maybe a clinic. So let's see if you guys can chat some answers. I think I opened it up for you guys. Or you can put it in the Q&A, actually, that works too. So Hunter said business casual. Yeah, if they're an administrator, they might be wearing business casual. Scrubs, sneakers, thank you, Paula. That would be like a nurse or a physician's assistant. Definitely sneakers, they're walking around standing all day. Let's move on to the second one. So we have an office environment. So Hunter, I'm gonna give you credit for that one twice because that's probably business casual. Thank you for paying attention to the last slide. Actually, you know what? That suffices. Let's just move on. Ooh, a classroom. So maybe you don't realize this, but for some people, a classroom is a work environment. So what are some things that you notice that maybe your teachers wear or your principal wears? Casual for that one. I like that. Thank you. Yeah, so a lot of teachers do dress casually. So something to think about, if you like wearing, shorts to work, because I have seen teachers wear shorts, not a lot of careers let you do that. Yeah, they were business casual, definitely. Principals might be wearing suits, khaki heels, business shirt and tie. Yes. Very good. Yeah, so something to think about there. Just wanted to point that out. Ooh, a manufacturing plant. Maybe you guys have, some of your parents might work in these and notice what people who work at these plants bring on a daily basis. Think about safety for this one. Yep, jeans, definitely pants, definitely steel-toed boots, hard hat. Yep, very good. Thank you, Hunter. That's an excellent response. Yeah, there's a lot of safety. They might even have to bring eyewear, which is pretty important. Yeah, sturdy wear. That's it. You're going to be required because you never know if something like a piece goes flying. They want to make sure your leg's covered or like something might spill. Very important. Hard hat, bump cap. All right, and then last but not least, an oil rig. Just decided to throw one weird one in there. Nobody wants to answer the oil rig one. Yep, pretty much non-flammables for sure. Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty similar to the manufacturing one. It's a lot of yeah, something something that's gonna get dirty. Good answer. Yeah, oil rigs are definitely messy. Definitely not unsafe, but like you got to wear protective equipment. It's in a water environment, so some careers might even involve you going underwater, like underwater welders. So you might have to bring your own diving equipment. So kind of interesting stuff there. All right, you guys get the idea. Good job. Um, okay, let's move along. All right. So here's some tips that actually heard from employers. So we did a bunch of research in our essential skills on our team when we were creating some essential skills presentations, and a lot of that information was advice from employers for high school students or young people entering the workforce. Just a disclaimer before I go through these tips. Things are going to change by industry or organization. Like we just saw, different work environments require very different equipment or clothes. So just keep that in mind. But here are some general tips that I thought were good for pretty much everybody, and ones that I had noticed too. Uh, so one, perfume or cologne is too strong. So you might think like, oh my gosh, I really want to make sure that I don't smell bad, or that like people think I'm not hygienic or whatever. Maybe I forgot to brush my teeth this morning, so I'm going to put on extra perfume. That can also be a problem. I always tell people one spritz is enough. When you put on too much, so it could bother people. Some people, I actually have a coworker who's allergic to that stuff, and she has to leave if like she smells some essential oils or something. So just a heads up there. Clothes are too flashy. This goes back to what we talked about earlier about casual, how on the job casual is very different from outside of work casual. So sometimes, and I've seen this, you get young people who look like they're dressed up for a party, or that they're about to go night clubbing or something like that. So just make sure that you are using those photos and you're dressing casual or business casual and not going out casual. So just a heads up there. Last but not least, too many tattoos revealed. I hear this a lot. It's kind of an unfortunate one. I feel like the culture is changing around it. People are becoming more accepting of tattoos, but I do want to include it here because you may enter a situation in which you're applying for a job and you might have someone with some pretty antiquated views about tattoos. So what I suggest, we want you to express yourself. We want you to be yourself, but for an interview, definitely cover them up if you can. So if it's a neck or a hand, obviously you can't, but if you have like legs, back, whatever, just try to cover them up because you don't want to not get a job because someone has some weird views on tattoos. And then after you've been working there for a couple of weeks and you get to know people, feel free to loosen up. You know, if you have like an arm, you could wear a short roller sleeve up, whatever. Um, but yeah, so that's my advice on that one. But again, we don't want to prevent people from expressing themselves. And I think over time, this is going to become less and less relevant. Ooh, activity time. All right, so we got a scenario activity here, which is going to utilize a poll. So in this activity, we're going to be interns and we're at our internship. And here's the scenario. It's Wednesday morning at the office and you see someone carrying a lot of boxes. You don't know this person and you're working on an assignment that is due Friday. So what should you do? We are going to drop in a poll here. Let me just find the right one. All right. So launching this poll. So what should you do? So you've got 4 options here. I know there's some text. I'll let you guys take a minute to read those. All right. Got some good votes. Give them our 15 seconds. All right. Thank you guys for participating. Got one strong leader. All right. Okay. I'm going to end it in 3, 2, 1. All right. So here are the results. Very good. Yes, the last one is the correct one. The second one is that a couple of you voted for. Ask your supervisor. that's not wrong. Like, you can totally do that, but just generally, don't worry about it. Go help that person. And I include this scenario because this is actually based in some feedback we heard from teachers about students at their internships, where they get too laser focused in on their assignment. But in this activity, the assignment's due Friday. It's Wednesday. Nothing you get as an intern is going to take more than a day to complete. They're not giving you these like crazy assignments. So always help out the person. And the reason you do that is well, there's a few reasons. One, you don't know who that person is. They might be the CEO of the company, and they're gonna be like, "Who are you? Oh, you're our new intern. Wow, like this person's awesome." They're gonna talk to your supervisor and be like, "That intern, wow, we have that position opening up. We should tell them to apply." The other thing is that other people are going to notice. So coworkers might notice and they're like, "Oh man, I didn't even get up to help the person. Like the intern's going after it. Like I love that initiative." And word gets around. People notice that stuff. So even things that seem small and only take a few seconds, they can make a big impact. So yeah, if you don't know what to do, always ask your supervisor. I always recommend that. But if it's something where you're just like, it's about good manners, just go help the person. That's totally cool. Um, thanks nobody for choosing the first one. All right, moving on. All right, so here's another piece. So something that we noticed in the research is that the strongest correlating factor when delivering high quality work, more so than intelligence, more so than working the hardest, is simply knowing what your top three priorities are in that position. Just knowing what you were hired to do. That's the strongest correlating factor for delivering a high quality product, being a great employee. It sounds really simple, but apparently people aren't able to do that. So I like that advice because I think it really helps students get a leg up. And if you don't know, ask. Remember, I said always ask your supervisor. If you don't know something, that's totally fine. Make sure to do that. Sometimes students are hesitant. They're like, I'm not sure. I'll just work on it. And then they end up doing something wrong or working on the wrong thing. Just ask your supervisor if you don't know. Here's another piece of advice. Um, Surround yourself with productive people and study their habits, or at least take note of who in the work environment seems to be getting a lot of praise from their supervisor, or maybe they're getting rewarded with more responsibility or kind words, and who isn't. Who seems to be sort of languishing in like lower level positions and not really getting much praise or responsibility. And what's the difference? What are the traits that separate those people? I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Something interesting to think about, including in the workplace. And then always be busy. So don't, if you have free time, don't stop and text your friends. Like try to find something to do. That's an easy one. Um, all right, let's talk about time management. So I love this quote by Mark Twain. If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. If it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. If we were in person, I'd ask to talk about. We have a little discussion about what this quote means, but I'll just tell you for the sake of time. This quote's about. It's basically about procrastination and time management. So if you have something important that you need to take care of, make sure that's done before you do anything else. And if you have 2 really important things to take care of the more important one first, or the harder to do one first. So again, it's about time management and making sure you set yourself up for success. Uh, Another piece about time management that I noticed some students, especially interns, don't do: build a little schedule, write down due dates, write it in if you have like a Outlook calendar or whatever, make sure you take note of that. It's like homework. You got to track what's due when, so you don't lose sight of your assignments and making sure you're getting things done on time. If you're not sure, ask your supervisor. And then again, just a reminder, always be busy. All right. One other scenario. So we're at that same internship, and we've completed our final task on our to-do list. But we still have 4 hours left before we're done for the week. So it's Friday, we're done. What should we do? We have 4 hours. So I'm gonna release a poll here. Let's see. Give you guys a few seconds to read through the answers. So again, this one was informed by a few of some teacher feedback that they noticed certain students who were having trouble with their internships. We put this question in here to help students think about that. right. And you guys, it's like one person votes and everybody just puts the same answer. It's cheating. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I'll give you guys a few more seconds here. All right. All right. Eating a snack is always the correct response in workforce development. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you guys all got it right. This is an A+ intern move right here. This is like, this will get you a lot of love in your internship or your job. So yes, you go ask your supervisor what else you can help them with. And this is important for several reasons. One, it signifies to your employer, wow, this person is on the ball. They are, they not only did they get their assignment done on time, they actually got it done early. Second, it demonstrates incredible initiative on your part to ask for more work. That signals to everyone in that workspace, wow, this person's ready for more responsibility. And again, if they have a job that's opening next month, who do you think they're going to be considering inviting to apply? The intern that's chilling, texting, and eating a snack, or the intern that's like, I finished all my stuff. What else can I do for you? And if your supervisor doesn't have anything, go hang out with your other coworkers. Ask them if there's something you can help with. That's networking. That's real networking right there. That's how you can start building professional relationships, get a letter of rec, things like that. Oh man, I lost my cursor. There we are. Okay. All right, let's check on the Q&A. Oh, causes allergies. Let's check the chat. Same thing with piercings. Great question. Yes, I mean, ear piercings are obviously fine, but if you have like a, Dennis Rodman, like nose piercing, again, feel it out. Some places might not worry about that, like Trader Joe's or some like coffee shops might not worry too much about that, but feel it out. You guys should trust your judgment on that one. If you don't know, ask a friend or a parent or guardian. But for the most part, if it's a very large, if it's like immediate attention grabber, I would say, yeah, take it out at least for the interview. Okay. So we're going to do a couple more polls here, just recapping some of that stuff. Sorry, I forgot to stop sharing that one before. Okay, so let's do an appearance poll. So for this one, if I want my appearance to make a good impression on the first day of my internship, I should wear the dress I was saving for my friend's birthday. It's expensive and I look good in it. Overdress. I don't have a suit, but I bet I can find some clothes in my sister's closet. Dress casually. I noticed that when I interviewed that's how everyone else was dressing. Wear nice clothes, but more importantly, put on a significant amount of perfume so that no one thinks I think it cuts off, but stinks. All right. Give you guys 5 more seconds to look through those. I want to make sure we are on time. All right, so this one's a bit trickier. You can see you guys chose a few different options. So this one, it was trickier. So the actual correct one is overdress. Always overdress, at least for the first couple of days, just to make sure. It always makes a good impression. If you don't have a suit, just do your best. I know, I couldn't afford a suit when I was like in high school or college. So, just try to do your best, go to a thrift store, try to buy some nice looking professional, at least business casual, maybe get a tie, or if you're a woman, just a nice blouse and some nice slacks or a nice business skirt. The third one is a trick. I put that one in there because yes, you do want to take note of what other people are wearing, but you don't want to make an assumption. That's why I say overdress, at least for a couple of days. Then once you've really seen there's a pattern, or a lot of times people were like, oh, you don't need to wear all that. We're business casual. We're casual. Don't worry. It's not wrong again, but overdressing is always the best policies. The fourth person, yeah, I put so no one thinks I stink, which I think would have led you to not choose that one, but that goes back to the perfume piece. So don't put on too much perfume. Okay. All right, let's do one more poll here. This is a tricky one. Okay, so this is a scenario one. I'm at work and my parents called me 3 times in a row. I think it could be an emergency. I should not pick up the phone. I'm at work and I don't want to make a bad impression with my coworkers. I should go outside to take the call and then communicate with my supervisor what's going on. Take the call at my desk and make sure that my coworkers hear the conversation so that they know I'm dealing with something serious. Or last one, head home immediately without talking to anyone and call my parent on the way. It's not anyone's business what's going on with my family. All right, give you guys a few more seconds here. All right, you guys are on top of it. All right, I'm just gonna end that one. Yeah, you got it right. Good call. You go outside, you always take the call outside, you're paying attention, and then make sure to communicate with your supervisor. Do not just leave. I've had students do that. You know, you don't have to say exactly what's going on. Just say like, hey, I'm dealing with a family emergency. I have to leave. I'm so sorry. They understand. People, this happens all the time. So don't worry about it. But do not leave without communicating to somebody. But make sure it's your supervisor. All right, let's keep moving on here. We're almost done. I just want to share a few things that are really important that I've noticed in HR coming up, some new skills. So we've all heard of IQ, like, oh, my IQ is 137 or something like that. So that stands for intelligence quotient, which is supposedly a measure of intelligence. So there's other quotients now. So for example, there's one that they're calling adaptability quotient, or AQ. So similarly, it has a score. And the idea of the AQ is it measures your ability to thrive in a fast changing environment. And we see that on job descriptions, like we're looking for people who can thrive in a fast changing environment. So what does that actually mean? We'll get into that. But 91% of HR decision makers say they expect to hire people, that's you, based on their ability to cope with change. So this is really important, right? It's good to know. So why do they care about that? One, technical skills are constantly upgrading and technology is constantly upgrading. So they need people that can learn new skills, right? That's an important piece of that essential skill stuff. Also, employees have more jobs now. They're constantly changing jobs. So it used to be people had like 1 or 2 jobs over the course of their life. Now it's like between 7 and 10. So they need people who can hit the ground running, learn all the new processes, learn the new software, meet the customers, meet the coworkers, etc. And so I pulled a few sample questions from the adaptability quotient, the actual test. And so I just wanted to share one with you to get you an idea of like, this is something that employer might talk about. So just drop in the chat or Q&A. Tell me about a new tool or technology that you learned to use in the last 3 months. Can be anything. Oh, I just saw your question, Paul. It's a good one. I'll get to that. So any new technology, could be anything, even something stupid. New app, new anything. Nothing? Oh man, guys. Okay, well, I think you guys get the idea here. There's another question on, oh, we got an answer. Let's see what we got. CAD software, sweet. There you go, in 2 months. That's awesome. If I saw that as an HR person, I'd be like, we're hiring Hunter. He knows how to learn technology. All right, that's a great example, thank you. So there's a few other ones. Paula, to answer your question, I'm gonna show you the question 3. So this is about group work. So how would you try to convince people to follow a new, more effective method of working on something if they were resistant to that idea? So that's something that employers are looking for. So I'm not going to necessarily answer that question, but I will say that how you respond to that is really important. And so think about examples of when you've had to deal with that and use those in an interview. Talk about how you worked through that, because employers really want to hear about that. That's important. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay. One last piece before we go, the adversity quotient. This is another AQ. Isn't that fun? So this one measures how you deal with adversity, right? So I won't go into that, but basically it's your ability to overcome barriers. And I'm going to share one question from here to give you an idea of what employers are looking for. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how much control do you feel you have in this situation? I'll show you that in a minute. And then you'll see the scale here: 1, no control; 5, complete control. And the situation is you suffer a financial setback. So let's say you're working, you lost your job. Like now you don't have an income. How much control do you feel you have in that situation? So I'm going to poll you guys. It's going to be our last poll. Where is my cursor? There it is. Oh my gosh, where is it? There we are. Launch the poll. So how much control do you feel you have in this situation? And there's no right answer to this, by the way. It's just a scale. So just while you guys are responding, so someone who says they have a no control might say, you know what? I never got along with my supervisor. That person's a jerk. That's why they fired me. And like, that wasn't really my fault. I had nothing to do with this. It was just because this person was a jerk and they're mean. And I didn't put up with that. Someone who's 5 might say, you know what? I got laid off, but my friend Sarah didn't get laid off. Why is that? Maybe it's because she had all of these great skills. She was able to learn technology. She has all these like indispensable skills that the employer needs, and I don't have those skills. Additionally, she was never late to anything. I'm late all the time, and that really annoyed people. Maybe there's something I should be changing about myself. Maybe I need to go back to school, learn new skills, and change my attitude. So you guys said 3. So right in the middle, some control. So there's some 2s, some 4s. So I'm just going to give you a cheat here. So people who answer, they have a bunch of questions like these. People who answer 5s get the highest score. So if you systematically select 5, that's how you have a high adversity quotient. And what's interesting about that is that regardless of, it's not about, your perception of how much control you have, or sorry, it's not about, it's okay to answer any of these, but what's interesting and what the studies show is that people who perceive that they have control over their issues that happen to them and obstacles, they are the best at responding to adversity. It's a perception thing. It's not necessarily grounded in like, well, that person's just the best. No, it's about your mentality and your attitude towards obstacles. And what I love about that is that that is changeable. This isn't like IQ where you're just set with the same score your whole life. These are changeable traits. These are mentalities, attitudes. So if you start taking that, take control, you will actually be better at dealing with obstacles. And that's why I wanted to include that in there. All right, we're gonna skip all that. So connections to school, this is just a slide. Again, a lot of these skills you're learning in class with due dates, class start times, teach you to be on time, time management, phone rules, teaches you good phone etiquette, and then any class with a group project. So Paula, that can help you with working with others. The more group projects to do, the more experience you have dealing with lazy people or people who just don't want to change their ideas or don't, argue all the time. So I'm going to leave my contact information up there if you have any questions. And I know we are ended, but I'm going to look through the Q&A and answer some questions. If you need to go, that's fine. I'm going to display the this certificate here in case you need to verify with your teacher that you attended. Okay, Paul, it's about adaptability and how they overcome them and handle those situations the same with group projects. Yeah, very true. That's what they look for. They want to see, employers want to see your thinking, like how did you respond? And there's, infinite ways that you can respond. So they just want to see one that shows that you're composed, that you don't lose your cool, and that you have experience in those situations. All right. So Paul, I'm going to go back to one of your earlier questions, how you should deal with people who do not do their part on projects or are particularly lazy. So this is something that's a very key, that's a difficult soft skill, essential skill. I think what's important here is there's something called the XYZ method, which is when you have a difficult conversation with somebody, you use the XYZ method. And that's I feel X when Y happens in situation Z. It's how to you express yourself in a difficult setting. So you might say like, look, I'm really frustrated when we assigned everybody their tasks as part of this project and you didn't complete your task. And so that's a way to confront someone in that situation. And, you should talk to people because communication is key and you're going to come across that your whole life where you have to have a difficult conversation. You have to, you might be a supervisor one day. Maybe you have a team member that's not doing their part. Or maybe you're working your equals on a group and someone isn't doing their part. So that's one way to deal with it. I'm trying to think of some other things off the cuff here. Sometimes, it's about protecting yourself, making sure like, look, I committed to this. And again, using the XYZ method, I feel really uncomfortable when you expect me to help you with your sections and prioritize that over my own work. If it's a really serious problem, it might be something you have to talk to your supervisor about. Like if you're really not, or your teacher about. So if it's really jeopardizing your work, or you feel like you might be at risk for a negative performance report, let's say, or a low grade, make sure you tell people, communicate. Don't be rude about it, be polite, but make sure you're firm in your conviction, and you express yourself. That's always important. And try to do it as professionally as possible. So I hope that helps. Oh, yeah, I've been there. Those skills will pay off down the road. You'll see the people who work hard, the people that get it done. You people will appreciate that, and employers will appreciate that. It'll pay off down the road. So there's only so much you can do to help others. But if you stay focused, keep doing good work, and keep working in those situations, it'll pay off. I promise that. All right. I don't see anything in the chat. And I think that's all our questions. So I want to make sure you guys all get to go to the keynote. Definitely check out the keynote panel. It's going to be sweet. It's about resilient jobs. So occupations that are recession or pandemic resistant. Very interesting. So we're going to hear from people talk about which jobs weren't affected by the pandemic, which were, how did work change because of COVID. It's going to be great. So hope to see you guys all in there, and have a great day. I'm going to stop the recording.